For what real value of x is the equation above true? Well, the SAT likes to throw these little fancy words in there to confuse you, but remember that a real number is every number that you've ever seen. The opposite of being a real number is being an imaginary number, and we can identify imaginary numbers pretty easily because they usually have an I component, like 3i or 3 plus I or something like that. So don't be thrown off at these little silly words that they throw in there. Now, back to the question. We have a 4-term polynomial, and we learned that if you have a 4-term polynomial to solve, you want to use the factoring by grouping method. So we're going to take 2 of the terms and we put them in their own parenthesis, and we're going to take the other 2 and do that same thing, and then we're going to factor the GCF out of each one. So looking at the first parenthesis, x cubed minus 5x to the second, these have an x squared in common. And when you take that out, you're left with an x minus 5 inside. And then the second pair, we have 2x minus 10. These have a 2 in common. We take the 2 out and we are left with an x minus 5. Now remember, when you're factoring a 4-term polynomial, it is a great sign when these 2 parentheses are the same. If they're not the same, there is a mistake somewhere and you have to go back and fix it. So what's the next thing? We take these 2 outside terms and you put them in their own parentheses, so x squared plus 2. And then since we have 2 of the same exact, we really just need one of them. And the final step is just solving for each one individually. So we set each equal to 0. And we're going to use algebra to just solve for each one. So let's solve the easier one first. We're going to add 5 to both sides. And for this one, you're going to subtract 2 from both sides. So for the first one, we're going to have x equals positive 5. And this one here will have x squared equals negative 2. To solve for x fully, we have to square root both sides. Now here's the problem. We cannot take the square root of a negative number. So this would be an imaginary number I root 2. Now the question said we need a real value of x, or a real number. That means we can throw out this answer and keep x equals 5. So we'd gradient 5 as the answer to this question.